a self-empowered woman. Our ideal partner is going to be somebody who accepts us for who we are, but also who accepts their own self for who they are. And that's why delighting in the self, in life, in love. So when you are a delight, it's because you have your 0 1 year old in the forefront. Okay, so self empowered woman, my 0 1 year old is independent. I'm a 5D mystic also, so I have flames, and soulmates. Some people only have one twin flame, but that's a side note. We had plenty of episodes on that today. But for my polyamory crew, come on over. So in my case, I'm a solo poly, and that is thanks to my lovely oversoul. So twin flames and soulmates, they make a very good bunch, and the delighting in oneself. So let's talk about ideal partnerships. So number one, again, self-empowered woman, enlightenment soul age group, woo-woo, pseudoscience, out of that respect for the academics, because I bring to you subjective experiences, subjective looking into the psychology, sociology, existentialism, looking into and getting my own educational hours with attachment and trauma information courses. I'm a mentor, I'm a Reiki master, holistic practitioner, all these words, all these words, okay? So personal development, self-help, when taken seriously, that's where you find inner growth mindset. It's the capacity for you to be self-aware, self-reflective, and be emotionally aware and reflective, and also self-regulate. So now that I'm attachment and trauma informed, I know how to explain to you why a self-empowered woman's ideal partner is only going to be an empowered man, which means they have healthy self-worth. So they have to be able to delight in who they are. Have to. Otherwise, they don't have love on, and that's where we're going to need people like Terry Real for that unfinished business. That's because the love dependence or the love avoidance don't have healthy self-worth. So if you don't know how to be in delight for self, you don't know how to love yourself first. That's going to be not my ideal partner, because you're going to enter into envy, jealousy, revenge, spite. You're going to enter into shame, blame, guilt, all the maladaptive child behavior, low self-esteem, chit chat with me. And I'm going to call you out on it. And I'm going to keep calling you out on it. But really what it is you're not my ideal partner, because you're not a person who's walking with me. You're not delighting in life with me. You're not bringing to me every 24 hours more. So what does more mean? Okay, let me read to you this first. That way we can keep talking. The frequency of delight, it supports our capacity to create and experience feelings of intense joy and happiness. The more delight we feel, the more delight we evoke in others. Okay, so when you have that lovely nervous system with your whole 3-year-old heart, you have this. It's called compassion, and you have self-compassion, and you also have compassion for other. And so you know that lovely, it's not a pain body for us. For us, it's an emotional body, because we want to tend to our emotions. For people who have a hard time with emotions, they become aware of it and they begin a journey. And so that ideal partner will say, I'm on a journey. I'm on a journey to integrate my brain. I'm learning about my community, my childhood, and I had some trauma stuff and more going on. So I'm navigating, this in between as I work to get more. I'm going to be looking to have partner support me, but it's not by me projecting to low self-esteem, indirect communication, or passive aggressive. No, I'm my own divine masculine, divine feminine. I'm my own emperor, empress. Every one of us has those two equations, okay? So the only ideal partner for a self-empowered woman is going to be, in my case, a self-empowered man and men, because polyamory for some of us is where we're at. And that wheel of fortune, as well as that hermit mode, is for expansion. But we don't go into hermit mode in a way of silencing anyone. Let me explain in a minute. I like to create content for the entire community, so I'm involving the polyamory in case they're curious about what it's like for a securely attached person to be here sharing about conscious lovers who know, because I have no shame, because the whole horror or the whole sin or the whole unfaithfulness from the monoamory community is for the group of closed-minded people. The 3D, 4D community. We're 5D, so we're not closed-minded. This means that you know about change happening because your brain is flexible, adaptive, coherent, energized, and stable enough to be in consciousness, in a conscious state, as you integrate. So even if you don't like something, you don't say, because I don't like it, my subjective experience is what is the truth. You understand, I live love life in a way, and mine is monoamorous, and others live love life a different way. Okay, so with that being shared, for a securely attached person, that's when you're self empowered, or for a person who is tending to work with their own self and reparent. They know how to bring their inner adult into the picture, but they know that their inner child is going to come up. So they present to you, by the way, a conversation. Okay, so self-empowered woman's ideal partner, talking about emotions and thoughts, not minimizing, but also it's about being able to share. So what do I mean by that? Okay, so for one, as I was saying, you can delight in yourself in life when you can laugh at life. You laugh at yourself. You laugh at things. You don't take things personally. Or if you do get upset and you get into mood, you know how to say, you know what? That was that thing that I'm working on, because I'm used to having this type of way of reacting. So, we'll try that one again next time. Nobody tells somebody how to talk or not to talk, to filter that mouth or not filter it, okay? The power of community is that people who are working on expanding the window of tolerance, their reactivity, they're working with somebody, a professional, the middle mediator sometimes, okay. And that's because they want to delight in themselves fully and completely with another person, and again with life. So self-love is number one. Learning to love yourself first is going to be necessary if you're going to delight in love without it being something that has dependency. Okay, so I'm an independent lover because I have an emotionally independent 0-1-year-old, and I have healthy self-worth. So no matter what you're doing with other lovers, I'm going to have compersion. I'm not going to think that I'm replaceable. I can be sad, let's say, that you have more fun talking about topics with one of your partners because I don't involve myself in those topics. That can make me sad. But with secure attachments, I'm not going to be insecure about it. What I'm going to do is present to you, wow, I'm feeling a little blue today because I feel that I can't connect with you on the same level. So it's always a conversation. Okay, so the ideal, I'm thinking about this right now because it's really beautiful when you have people who know how to tell you, this is where I'm afraid to lose you, but I know that it's a silly fear, and so I'm going to present it to you though, because that way we can talk about it and figure out what we can do to get that up to a specific space. There's always 3-year-old's delight. When you're a self-empowered woman and man, there's always lightness. That's the part. It's because you have healthy self-worth. There's no other way to describe this feeling except for you are vulnerable in a way that isn't, I'm going to get hurt. And that's because, though, you have a connection. You will build that connection only in time as you build with a safe haven, secure base, but you're open and receptive to that. So for the self-empowered women, will know the feeling that I just was describing with a smile on my face, because it's going to be clear. Like when I'm afraid, for example, let's say I am in a space of fear of losing you. Me sharing that with you and you reassuring me is part of what partnership is. But then there's maintaining the consistency of that vibration. Okay, so some people, they have a specific way of going through moments of insecurity together. Okay, so that's another part of the ideal partner. It's not, once we get afraid, we're going to ditch this relationship. It's no, we actually talk about the fear as it's coming up. Okay, so self-awareness and self-ownership are very much a part of the equation. And any person, as long as they're reflective and they're willing to do the work, so any attachment and any trust breaks and any type of trauma is workable. I have been learning so much from all different attachment trauma experts, and recently I've added to this with a lovely person. He's online. I'm going to get his book at some point, but he's made it very clear with everything that he has written and studied and researched in his own patients that all of those clusters that are diagnosed out there are things that people can work on with a good therapist, and that others can work with those partners, okay? And not with the stigma, and not with the pathologizing, and not with the we're fixed in a box. And here's where right now we're in this new time because of the academics and researchers, but also because of people like us that are creating the conversations, informal, our personal experiences, and in a way of saying, yes, we all have emotions and we all have thoughts and we all can have this quote unquote fucked up thing. No, nobody's fucked up. The attachment and trauma educated, we're not mental health mantles. We actually understand you can get to your whole self. You can delight in life just like I can. I'm a restorative embodiment. You can delight in life just the same way. But it requires your desire to get home to yourself, your inner child, and then to build a community with me and others that has you put into practice this. I can't put into practice your nervous system being lifted up when you're repeating what can be something that comes up from the past, because those first 3 years are implicit. The only way for you to move out of that wheel is you catch it, and with me you say, oh, look what I caught. I caught this thing. Remember that thing I told you about? It came up again. So that's why today I was in this mood or that mood. When a person can speak to another person about all of this, which can happen again if they're taking their mental health seriously, working with a good professional, and or they have a person that is knowledgeable. So I share with people that I meet all about attachment trauma in conversation, not in a way of anything else, because I'm interested. This is what I do, and sometimes they're interested too. And so I'm laughing right now though, because I have some people that they consistently disengage from doing the work. So for one, as we close on out, the ideal partner for a self-empowered woman, they have to have healthy self-worth. They have to know that they're special just the way they are. They have to know it, not from here, here, and then here. And so when them and I face anything with my other partners, in my case, and for those of you who are monoamory, in your case, it would be any insecurity that comes up. It has nothing to do with partners, but it has everything to do with wanting each other to be happy. Compersion. So compersion, the actual compersion, you know how it works? This is why you move beyond the concept of the one. It was not hard for me to move beyond it. Did I expect it? No. But here's where, as a mystic, and I'm a divine feminine, and I'm in the Enlightenment Soul Age group, and these are not things you reach because of them being categories. When you know you're here, and you're just all over, it's something so blissful and beautiful. My 5D collective mystics, come on over. The 4D is so much. You're not getting what you could get. The spiritual bypassers are not allowing you to enjoy what clairs are. And I'm an in-between, because I have realized at this point, thank you, Daniel, that all of the people, Daniel Siegel, neuroscientists, neurobiologists, they have pretty clear what our stuff is, but we live it differently. And at the end of the day, they don't know everything. So that's why there's still room in this lifetime for us, for now. I don't know how many, but there's still room for spirituality with the sciences coming. But 4D, they're on Elsa's journey, so they are not doing anything with their clairs. They're not doing a lot with their clairs. I'm just going to leave that one out there for my 5D mystics, because seriously, there's so many stories I have for you all, but it's for my mystics. I don't want to bore people who, thank you for the patience. Okay, so long story short, though, when a person can delight in themselves and know that their trauma is not something yucky, it's not something that some of us, we will know when they're telling us what's happening, but it's them taking ownership. So people who don't, what I was trying to give you the example of, they say, this always happens to me, Maria. These men, they're always like this. Or, so they have this attitude about it. And they don't notice their love dependency. For the love dependent, they're the usual ones who are complaining. The love avoidance just keep on avoiding it, and they completely deny themselves to feel everything. That's even more sad. But in the end, our community with the good attachment trauma therapists out there, and with people that are open, because we're always on. I delight in life every day. So my ideal partner and partners, if they're bummed out, I can help them. I can support them, and I will. I will always say, here, I have love. Let me lift you up. But I know that I won't be able to lift you up if you continue to drag yourself down. And that's a very different energy, though. So I'm going to say I don't have people that are dragging themselves down. What I have are people who are learning how to do this in general, and that makes sense for the vibration I am. A person who wants to drag their feet, if you will, because they're refusing the good information, they're going to be irritated by my energy. So that's the part about the matching of what you get around you. It's going to match your vibration. Human suffering love narrative, they don't like human love narrative because we're always on, and they will feel that, which is going to give them a challenge and an opportunity. If they take it, then they can move into expansion of consciousness because they say, you know what, I want more of this. But if they stagnate, so that's the other group that we're getting, the stagnating group. Stagnation simply means when somebody says, it always happens, and once they've given up on this, it's always going to happen, they become basically, well, we won't go there. So that's a whole other topic. In the meantime, again, the ideal partner for self-empowered women is going to be a healthy, self-empowered, in my case, man and men, because they need to know that they're beautiful just the way they are, no matter what's going on. Nothing is going to make an empowered woman say you're defective. No. An attachment trauma informed person, by the way, it's going to be you're not defective, you're not broken, you are healable. We have plenty of resources out there that can help get that self wherever we want to get it. Don't worry, we're going to get wherever you get, we're going to get there. And you better bet that the person who's participating will get there. This is what the studies have shown. So the only ones who don't get here, I don't want to do personal development, or they don't want to look in the mirror and say, you know what, I am doing trauma bonding. You know what, I am a victim and blamer right now, and I am a person who's in spiritual bypass. You know what, I am doing the martyr superior thing. You know what, I am doing the love dependent thing where I'm being desperate and manipulative, or where I'm controlling or angry. You know what, I have yet to see the people who do this thing of where they're projecting. And here's where Stephen Porges, let me bring him in. He shares, in biological rudeness, people will justify their maladaptive child behavior. They will not look at it. So people who are not self-aware of their thoughts and their emotions, and they say, no, Maria, it's not mindset. It's everything else that's outside of me and everyone. That's the number one thing. As soon as they say that, you know that, okay, I raise my hands. I'm so sorry. Human suffering love narrative. Tell me the story, 3-year-old, because I'm going to hug you. I'm going to support you in that moment, and then you're going to come tell me the next time it happens, and that's what you've chosen is your wheel from the 0-1 to 8-year-old, and to live your subconscious, which is your karma, because you don't want to notice that you can do something with your window of emotions, okay? And that's why we got Zen masters talking about there being laundry and not being able to vibe and be an enlightenment person, and I'm going to say that's bullshit. Because some of us don't have laundry. It's called I have emotions. There's 6 basic ones. I'm a human like you are. I learned how to do integration of the brain because Jesus taught me how to forgive. God taught me how to be humble. And my mother and my twin taught me how to be a person that lives beyond the solo self with meaning and connection, and how to be irritated and say, I'm irritated. And I already know that the world doesn't revolve around me, but I want the world to revolve around me. And that's why for a self-empowered solo poly, don't come tell me how to use my 24 hours. If you want to see me react and say no. But anyways, that's, again, for a side note and just to have you laugh a little bit. But safe haven and secure base. FYI, that 1-year-old, I've been able to regulate my nervous system because my mother always hugged me. She always reassured me. And my twin and I, we fought like cats and dogs. And so here's where I got rejected from boys when I was 4. They went and played with my twin and not with me because I was too serious. I'm 44. I'm still too serious, which is why I'm not interested in anyone who's not serious, meaning intellectually interesting. Yeah. If you don't have any interest and not in the environmental, entertainment. No, environment I care about, but not in a closed-minded way. If you're going to crap on humans, don't come to me because I love being a human, and you're now basically telling me that you're against our own species, which I'm going to say we're part of the environment. So environment, I mean all. Okay, so yeah, no misanthropist. A self-empowered woman will not do the misanthropist. You can't hate, dislike, or mistrust humans because I'm a human. And that would mean that you don't trust your own self, which tells me we need a good therapist, but I'm not your therapist, and I'm not your mom, and I'm not your parent, and I'm not coming into a relationship to have somebody to baby. So I'm going to be like, yeah, you know what? It was nice chit chatting. Okay, but anyways, what I was trying to get to is intellectually speaking, it's not because women are smart. Men, women, and theys that are empowered will be smart. So we're interested in topics that go beyond entertainment. The masses is what I was trying to get to, which we all can be a part of, but the masses are the ones who do the gender stereotypes. They have those videos going viral where they just generalize and they don't create conversations. They allow us, those who do create conversations, to say, okay, we know that we have still groups of people. They're going to continue with their gender stereotypes, and that's for them to do. We can have our own relationships and our own group and say, okay, let's respect. So, for my polyamory community, yes, some people, they will call you whore. Some won't tell you to your face. They'll just find it odd. Others don't know how to ask you about it or talk about it. When you do try to explain compersion, they have a challenge with that one. And lastly, as for men, if they're empowered, you don't need to worry about when you talk to them because, see, an empowered man, when you say, nobody can replace you, this is not a competition, there's no hierarchy, I just don't use labels. Use your name, I use my name, and we choose how to spend 24 hours. So it's a conversation that happens. You and I decide to build a life together because we're talking about it. And that's actually the number one thing, my polyamory community, is the conversation. Are we secure connections or are we going to be secure attachment? Secure attachment means that you and I decide that we want to talk about work, we want to talk about our day, we want to spend that day, we want to build a home. So these are all things that happen organically. Nobody is worried about any of it. So self-empowered women, when we see someone coming in and out, if you will, and here's why we don't need to have that conversation. The minute you show me that you're coming in and out, I'm building a secure connection because I delight in you just the way you are. So you're not my ideal partner to build a home with. You're going to be an ideal partner. You might be a safe haven because I get to feel comfortable with my nervous system when I'm around you. Or you might be a secure base and not a safe haven because I get to talk to you about my intellectual interests. And that's something that doesn't require conversation because those are the very actual participant character traits of the solo poly journey. So, FYI, let me know if you have any questions, any curiosity. And FYI, I have so far not yet gotten kicked out or, like polyamory cooties or kudos, whatever. But I do still have fun with it because most people don't know what it is and they get it all confused. And I have to say, I found it funny in one of the forums where the community was actually being quite unnecessarily not nice to one of the polyamory group. And that's when I realized that a good portion of us are asexual in grace, and I get it. And so that a good portion of people, it is about loving in that non-conventional friend way, but it is not in a way of wanting to be physically intimate, which is the very same aspect that people who are not polyamorous don't understand. They actively, automatically just think that it's about fucking around, and it is what it is. But at the same time, again, going to forums and seeing how people are teasing others and like, gross. I'm like, how old are these people that are doing something like that? But I did figure it out. And what I figured out is, here's the thing: when you embody who you are, so that's why self-empowered woman, an ideal partner, needs to embody their name. What's your name? Use your name. What's your 0-1-year-old's name? What's your 2-year-old's name? What's your 3-year-old's name? What's your humanity? When you overflow with humanity, divinity descends. Thank you, said Guru. Divinity is not some entity. When you embody your restorative embodiment, this is what a self-empowered woman can tell you. A man who embodies who he is, he's going to come to you. And it's not about it being right or wrong. It's an energy, and it's something beautiful. Because when you do know what empowerment looks like, you will know what you're meeting. And that's why the 5D Collective is made up of a lot of different people. But for one thing, we're made up of the acknowledgement that we each have what is called a body, and that none of us know what another person went through. So we don't cast a stone. We live beyond the solo self in the conceptualized awareness, whether it's intuitive or not, that all people are made with flaws and imperfections, and that we will unconditionally love all people because our planet is our home and humanity are our home too. And so is everything. So this is not something that I need to spell out too much. I already know IHP, who it attracts because of how I come to you. And it's always about community and personal development. And so pain, we know what pain is. Some of us, we simply have a comfort, meaning it's not something dramatic. Again, my mother taught me how to use my nervous system. So I'm like, what? Ideal partner has to accept who we are. So I'm a mystic. I'm not woo woo. And that's because mysticism, for my 5D mystics, it's out of respect for the sciences. They dispel myths that the spiritual bypassers are still using. And they're using them in a way that doesn't support humanity and healing of trauma. So 5D relationships involves mystics and not. We want to respect people. We won't be walking, though, around eggshells. And that's because that's all teenager stuff. Okay, so integration of the brain. Again, let's come on over. Let's delight in each other. Let's talk about these beautiful relationships. And again, if you have any questions, let me know. I love my cards. These are most amazing. They also have a beautiful vibe to them. So the ideal partner for me will be a man who accepts polyamory, monoamory, mysticism, who accepts Maria. And for you, it would be the same. And nobody chips away at our confidence because we delight in ourselves, in life, and in love, because that's what a securely attached, self-empowered woman is, or man, or they. It's called healthy self-worth. And when we meet maladaptive child behavior, we know how to love, accept, respect, and say no with a ventrovagal tone or silence, because sometimes the silence is important because those who don't take ownership, they already are upset. And the human suffering love narrative doesn't need you to add to their upset. They're already struggling inside. Okay, so let's share love. Let's share compassion. We'll be back again with more. Subscribe, like. That way, it helps the YouTube channel. That for sure. Join us on Spotify and all the other audio platforms. And Ask Maria for now is only available on the audio platforms. But once we get to our 1K, it'll be the first membership opportunity, and it's opinionated columnist episodes. They stay online for everybody else, but it's something specific to you, kind of like a Dear Abby. But instead of it just being that I answer you personally, I get to share with all. So, that's something I feel is going to be beneficial to those of you who have those questions. If you want curiosity questions, that's a whole different story. Free content, obviously. And if you're curious about something that I ever mentioned, hey, Maria, can you explain how you use this word? Because it's not like the dictionary's word, which I will do a lot. Okay, so if there's ever a word that I use and you're like, I don't know how she used it, that's because I used it in my own way. That's what 3-year-olds do. We go off the books, off the script all the time. And I'm bilingual, so I'm going to use that as an excuse too. And like my Italian friends say, you use that excuse too much. You should know how to speak now. It's like, well, I do mostly in English, which I might be starting to do Italian. I've had plenty of requests to that, but to be continued. Thank you for joining us, and I hope you have a great day.